Context windows are now 1 million tokens. So tell me, why are we still talking about RAG? Some people will tell you RAG is dead. Others will say context windows are just a lazy shortcut. Well, I believe both are wrong. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why and what the smartest AI builders are actually doing. So here is the core question. When you are building an AI product that needs to work with a large body of knowledge, let's say your company's documents, your users' data, a knowledge base, how do you feed that information to the LLM? You have got two main approaches. One is the very popular one and much revered, that is RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. It pulls only the relevant pieces at query time. Second is just dump everything into the context window. Well, they are solving the same problem, but they are not the same solution. So let's break both down. RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. The idea is simple. Instead of the LLM relying on what it learned during training, you give it fresh external knowledge at the time of the query. And here is how it works. You take your documents, break them into chunks, convert those chunks into embeddings. Embeddings are basically numerical representations of meaning, and store them in a vector database. When a user asks a question, that question also gets converted into an embedding, and you find the chunks that are semantically closest to it. Those chunks get injected into the prompt. The LLM then answers using the retrieved context. Think of it like giving the LLM a cheat sheet, but a really targeted, relevant one. Now let's talk about context windows. Models like Gemini 1.5 Pro support up to 1 million tokens. Claude goes up to 200k tokens. GPT goes up to 128k tokens. The promise here is simple. Just put everything in, your entire code base, your full documentation, the whole PDF. Just throw it all in and let the model figure it out. No chunking, no vector databases, no retrieval pipeline, and no ranking layer. And for some tasks, that is actually the right move. If someone uploads a long contract and say, summarize the risk, or drops in a code base and say, review this architecture, or gives you one big PDF and say, find the key insights, then yes, a large context window is incredibly useful. But here is the mistake people make. Just because the model can see a lot of information doesn't mean it is the smartest way to structure the system. Let's get into the actual trade-offs, because this is where it gets really interesting. First trade-off is cost. Every token you put in the context window costs money. If you are passing 500 pages into every single query, that adds up fast. RAG passes maybe 5 to 10 relevant chunks. At scale, the cost difference is dramatic. Now let's talk about speed. More tokens means slower inference. If you are building a product where response time matters, bloated context hurts you. And then there is the lost in the middle problem. This one is highly underrated. Research has shown that LLMs don't actually pay equal attention to everything in a long context. Information buried in the middle gets relatively ignored. So your million token window is not as powerful as it sounds. The model still gravitates towards what is at the start and at the end. Now what about freshness? RAG can pull from a live updating knowledge base. A context window is static. You decide what goes in at the prompt time. And the last one is traceability. With RAG, you know exactly which chunk the model used to generate an answer. You can show citations. That matters a lot for trust in enterprise products. Then when should context windows be used? Here is where context windows win. That is simplicity. If your task is bounded, like summarize this report, review this code base, analyze this contract, or answer questions from this one PDF, then using the context window directly is often the cleanest and the smartest option. No retrieval stack, no extra infra, and no failure points. Just pass the data in and let the model reason. So is RAG really dead? Answer is no. Is context window the final answer? Again, answer is no. Here is my actual take. The smartest builders right now are using both together. They use RAG to retrieve the most relevant pieces from a huge body of knowledge and then use the context window to reason deeply over those pieces. That gives you precision from retrieval and depth from the model. So if you are building with AI today, don't treat this like ideology. Don't pick a side because Twitter told you to. Treat it like engineering. Ask, do I really know what context matters, or do I need a system to find it first? That is the real decision. So no, RAG is not dead. But if you are still using it the same way people did a year ago, you are probably behind. Context windows getting bigger is great news for RAG, not a replacement for it. Because now when you retrieve 10 relevant chunks, the model has enough room to reason across all of them deeply. RAG's role is shifting from being the only way to inject knowledge to being the smart filtering layer before the context window. If this made the distinction clearer for you, subscribe to my channel and like the video. I'll see you in the next one.